I am so pleased I have a set TBR for the month of January. It's going to be so good. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and today we are doing the first TBR of 2024. I am so excited for the TBR game to be back fully. I had the last 3 months of 2023 where I only did a couple of rolls and then would mood read the rest of the month. And while it was fun at first, I quickly descended into the mindset of thinking, but what am I going to read? What do I read? What do I choose? I don't know what I feel like. I have no books to choose between. I have loads of books, but I just could not make up my mind. So I'm so excited to be back to the TBR game. Like, it's going to be so good. But let's actually just talk about what the TBR game is in case you're new here. Very simple game. We have a 6-coloured sided dice that I roll a minimum of 5 times. If the same colour comes up twice, I do a re-roll, but I do cap that at 2 times. So we have between 5 to 7 rolls that get done. Each colour correlates to a little ghost that sits on top of a prompt. Not much else to it. The only other thing I add in is that on one of these prompt choices, I will get you to choose the book that I read for the month. I will show 2 different books and you get to vote between which one I read for the month. Very simple. That is all there is to it. And as we're starting fresh with a new set of prompts for the year, we've got to choose 6 of these, lay them out, and then we're going to get into that first roll. I am so excited. I have been so excited for this moment to finally have a set TBR. It is going to be absolutely amazing. But I'm going to quickly lay these out and then we'll go to roll number 1. Alright, let's get those initial prompts chosen. Okay, manga graphic novel, nice and easy. Thrifted. Historical fiction, not my favourite to come up, but that's fine. Let's go in the middle now. A dark cover, classic, we'll go for this one. And then a pretty book. Okay, now let me set this up a bit better and we'll do the first roll. That looks a little better. Alright, the first roll of 2024. Blue. Oh, that's a nice prompt to start with. A pretty book. Okay, loving the first prompt, which is a pretty book. Although I'm not gonna lie, I debated for a moment like, oh, what books do I have that are pretty? What ones can I think of? Ignoring this stack right here, which is the Lot Library collection, which are the prettiest books I own. They're special edition books. So I just chose one of those. I've only not read, okay, 5 of them. I haven't read 5 of them, but there was one book in particular that I have been meaning to read. Honestly, I wish I'd read sooner, but I still haven't. I just never got around to picking it up. And that's Every Exquisite Thing by Laura Stephen. I'm very excited for this one. It's a dark academia book, and we're following a girl that goes to this school which has an emphasis on art and beauty, the Dorian Drama Academy. We're following Penny. She really wants to continue on with her mother's legacy, and so Penny jumps at the opportunity for this artist to paint her portrait, although she realises that maybe things aren't quite as they seem and bodies start to pile up and things start to go wrong. It's a seductive and searing exploration of beauty, identity, and what the pursuit of perfection can really cost. And this is an absolutely gorgeous book. It is so pretty. I mean, it is beautiful. Of course, this was the only book that should fit for that prompt. It was absolutely gorgeous. We have a ribbon bookmark as well. And it's a book I've been wanting to read for the last couple months, like since I got it, because I actually pre-ordered a copy of this book, which I then returned because I also got this in the Lot Library subscription. Really, really excited to read this one. So fingers crossed it holds up to it. It's kind of like a Dorian Gray reimagining. Very excited to get this one on my TBR for January. This is great. It's a great start. Replacing that prompt with this one. A title with 1 word. That was a great start to the month and the year, because that was the very first roll of the year. But it's time to continue. Although, honestly, some of those prompts I am not looking forward to. Like historical fiction, classic, not really in the mood for either of those. We'll see what comes up. Roll number 2. Oops. And that's purple. A manga or graphic novel. I don't know whether to trust the fact that this game's starting out really nice to me or not. The second prompt is manga or graphic novel, and I don't have loads to choose from for this, but there is a series that I am reading with my partner that we have not continued in absolutely ages, so I think it's about time we did that. And I am talking about Dead Man's Wonderland. So we are on volume 3, kind of halfway through volume 3 I think, so I'd like to continue on with that and also read volume 4. It's a series that we decided to just read together. He's already read the whole thing. I think I read the first couple before, but never actually finished out the series. And it's just nice to have something that we can both read together. He reads so much manga, but he doesn't like reading normal novels. And so this is something nice that we can actually just share together. So I would like to continue on with that this month. I would like to finish out this series this year. That would be really good. So this one is, we're following a main character who gets wrongfully imprisoned, and this prison is really quite brutal. It's a prison that puts on shows to bring in revenue for Japan, but these shows are a lot more bloody than what the public not so much know, but what they care to realize, and that these shows do end up with people dying, and dying for real, not just for the entertainment of others, of it being like, oh, they're fine, it's only pretend. Like, no, this is real. Very dark, very bloody, but I'm enjoying reading it with him. It's a good time. We're off to a good start. So let's choose another prompt and see what the rest of the game brings us, I guess. Let's go. This one, actually. Ooh, okay. Not particularly what I want either, but that is a contemporary book. I forgot about some of these prompts. I forgot they were in here. Yeah, I mean, now we have 3 prompts that I don't really want to get picked. Roll number 3. Ooh, green, which is a classic. We'll have a look. Okay, these are the classic shelves. And yeah, I mean, I do enjoy classics, don't get me wrong, but I do have to be in the mood for them. And the mood is not really mooding. Does that make sense? That probably doesn't make sense, does it? I mean, one that is on my winter TBR, we have The Collector, so I could probably do this one, and I was interested in it. The synopsis of that sounded really interesting. If you saw my winter TBR video, you would have seen it on there. What else? Is there anything else that's really like calling out to me? Maybe a short story collection, and then I could just dip in and out of that one. Could do that. I have a, move this card. We have the Mary Shelley short story collection there, which I could read. So that could be good. Or we've got this one, which is Cast in the Ruins and Other Ghost Stories, or even Other Tales of the Macabre. Okay, I'm going to pull these out, and I think I'm going to get you to decide for me. Either this one, because it's on my winter TBR, or one of the short story collections. Give me a moment, and I'll be back. So roll number 3, classic. As said, I've chosen 2 so that you can help me with this one. The short story I ended up going for is actually The Vampire and Other Tales of the Macabre. I have started this one. I've already read The Vampire. So now there are 13 short stories for me left to read. This book is only 250 pages long, which, considering I've already read the first, I think it was like 20-ish pages or something. Yeah, I'm already up to page 25. So I feel like it'd be good just to get this book finished off my shelf. Otherwise, what happens is, with a short story collection that I picked up because of one particular short story, is it would then stay unread on my shelves for absolute ages, and I want to stop doing that. I really want to get my TBR down. I feel like this is a good one, but I also have The Collector by John Fowles, and this is on my winter TBR. I feel like they're 2 good ones. So short story collection I do enjoy because I can read the book slowly over the month, so I'll probably read like 2 or 3 short stories a week, depending on how long the short stories are, will depend on how many of them I read. Some of the authors in here I already know. We have Sheridan Le Fanu, who wrote Carmilla, which I really enjoyed, and I would really like to read another story by them. Is there anyone else in here, or is it just that one? Yeah, no, just Sheridan Le Fanu. But what I like about a collection like this is I can try different authors, and if I really liked their work, I can look into and see if they wrote other things. So that's one, and this is all Tales of the Macabre, so all darker, more gothic leaning tales. And then The Collector by John Fowles is a, again, darker book. We're following a main character called Frederick who kidnaps a woman. He is a collector, he's very methodical, he has been obsessed with this girl for absolute ages, and so he kidnaps her. It's meant to be really good. I haven't heard too many reviews on this one. I haven't heard many reviews on either of these, to be fair. I will let you choose. Should we go for someone that's going to kidnap a girl, or should we go with a short story collection and give a few different authors a try? Let me know which one you think I should read in the comments below out of these. I may do another choose between these 2 out of more modern books, so for those of you that don't actually like classics and have no interest in either of these, if you don't want to vote between these ones, that's absolutely fine. I will also do another one of these for some more modern books, so you can take part in that one if you want to. So yeah, either the short story gothic collection or a equally dark book about about someone kidnapping someone. My taste is questionable. With that being said, we need to choose another prompt, and I think, you know what, let's just go straight at the front. Let's just do it. Why did we do this? Oh no. The oldest book on my TBR. Let's hope that one doesn't come up. Why did I do that to myself? I don't know. Roll number 4. Oh no. Okay, so that's purple, which means we're going to have a re-roll. The first one is a contemporary book. We have to choose a new prompt. So this one, a season pick, and we're going to do the first re-roll. Purple again. At least that isn't a re-roll. That's not a re-roll, because that colours came up 3 times, not twice now, so that's not a re-roll. Okay, which is season pick. Well, of course, we weren't going to get back to playing the game properly and get away with having no reroll. I should have said at the start of this, because it doesn't happen that often, is if the same colour comes up 3 times, I don't bother doing a reroll because we've already done the reroll for the colour purple, if that makes sense. We had contemporary come up first, which honestly, I need to take this prompt out. I don't have many contemporary books at all. I think in future that's going to have to be a Kindle book or something like that, but I do have one contemporary book on my TBR that I haven't read yet, and that is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. You've seen this book on TBRs before. I'm going to be reading Penance in December by Eliza Clark, and I'm very excited to read that one. Boy Parts is her debut novel, and I'm intrigued. We're following Irina, and Irina obsessively takes explicit photographs of the average looking man she persuades to model for her, scouted from the streets of Newcastle. Based on a sabbatical from her dead-end bar job, she is offered an exhibition at a fashionable London gallery, promising to revive her career in the art world and offering an escape from her rut of drugs, alcohol and extreme cinema. The news triggers a self-destructive tailspin centered around Irina's relationship with her obsessive best friend and a shy young man from her local supermarket who has attracted her attention. I've heard it be as quite an unhinged book, but I've also seen that this is being made into, is it a movie or a theatre adaptation? I'm not sure which one. I've had it on my TBR for ages. I need to give it a try. This was at the time I picked up when I was trying contemporary books, so I read a couple of Sally Rooney books. This was one I picked up around that same time. I want to give it a try. I've been putting it off for ages, so I mean, it's good. I'm going to finally read this one. You'll have to let me know if you've read this one and what you thought about it. And then for season pick, this is choosing a book off of my seasonal TBR. So like I've done earlier this month in December, I did my winter TBR of books that I want to read in the winter season, obviously. So I have 2 to choose between, which you can vote for. The first one is Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz, and this one is set in Edinburgh, 1817. We're following a girl that wants nothing more to become a surgeon, but obviously this is at a time where women are not allowed to pursue those sort of things. She's been told by the professor that if you can pass my class without actually taking a class, then yeah, sure, I'll teach you. So she needs to get her hands on a dead body so that she can learn, and she comes into contact with Jack, helps her get said dead bodies. We also have a bit of a murder mystery going on. I think this is going to be a really good read. I think I'm going to like it because I really like the Stalking Jack the Ripper Quartet by Karen Maniscalco. I really enjoyed that first book, and this has given me the vibes of that first book, which is the reason why I picked it up. And then the other book to choose between is Holly Black's The Stolen Heir. This is kind of like the spin-off to the Folk of the Air trilogy, which I binge read at the start of 2023. I loved it so much. And this one we're following Jude's brother. Jude is the main character from the Folk of the Air trilogy, and he is a fae creature. This book is all set around the fae, darker side of the fae, not Sarah J Maas, look at us, we're so strong and handsome fae. No, the darker fae from fairy tales and folklore. And I really, really love the setting of this book. This one we're following, I don't think it's Jude's brother's perspective. I think it's the perspective of someone that we meet throughout that trilogy, and I was always really intrigued by her. She's like a little side character that we see for a few snippets here and there. I was so intrigued as to what her story is, so I'm really excited to get a book that is about her. This one, the reason why I put it on my winter TBR is because the second book is going to be coming out, I think it's in March, so I really want to get it read soon so that I can read it and get the second book if I really enjoy it. So both of these books are books I think I'm really going to enjoy, so please let me know which one you think I should prioritise for the month. I think they're both going to be really good. They're both different, but they've both got things that I really like. I think it's going to be a good time, so please let me know which one you think I should prioritise. Before we go on to the last roll, I need to choose another prompt. I did ask recently in a video, in one of December's videos, December's TBR video actually, for some prompt ideas that you would like to see. I have had a couple come in, so I've added in those. So if you have any others that you would like to see as prompt ideas, then please let me know in the comments below. But for now, we're going to go with this one. Treat your shelf. Something I have no problem in doing. That is basically go out and buy a book. Perfect. We always love that. Is this going to be the last roll, or are we going to have another re-roll? Guess we're going to find out. Hopefully the last roll. And that's not the last roll. That's blue, which is a title with one word. And we've got to choose another prompt. Let's go with this one. Mythology. My handwriting is terrible. And now is the final roll. Pink, which is a dark cover. I'm kind of stumped with a one-word title. I don't have any new books with just a one-word title, I don't think. So it's going to be a reread, which I can think of, well, we can see 3 just off the top. So we've got this one here, which is Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. That's really a good book to read for winter. It's a witchy, wintry read. One of the few witchy books I did actually like. Do also have Godkiller by Hannah Kenner, which I read earlier in 2023, and I did enjoy this one. We have the second book coming out some point in 2024, I forget when, which I have pre-ordered, so I could reread that in preparation. But we do also have Piranesi, which I did really enjoy and I haven't read in a very long time actually. I think that's coming up like 2 years since I read that one. Or we've got like Gallant, I don't know. We're gonna have a little rummage, but I think it's gonna be out of Piranesi, Godkiller or Winterwood. One of those. Of course we had to have 2 rerolls in this game, but you know what? It's been really fun to do and it's been great to get back into having a full TBR game for a month. The first roll was title with one word. I've decided to go with a reread, Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I really want to make a priority of rereading books this year. Rereading is something that I really love to do. It's something I always used to do. Before I had the book collection that I have, I would reread all of the books I already had all the time. Like, it was a constant loop and I really enjoyed it. I've always really enjoyed rereading, but with the pressure of constantly wanting to read new books to review for you, it just meant that rereading for me has fallen to the wayside, and that's something I really want to revive for 2024. As you saw, ended up going with Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I really enjoyed this book, and the first time I read it I thought it was so unusual and yet a combination of weird, whimsical fairy tale but dark and mysterious, and it just worked. It was something I really loved. This was the first book I ever read by Susanna Clarke. It was in preparation to read what has become one of my favourite books ever, which is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I absolutely love that book. I really cannot wait to reread this, and I'm glad that I did make the effort to remember that I need to reread a book. I want to make sure I reread at least one book a month. So we are following Piranesi. Now, he doesn't know if that's his actual name. He's in this weird, unusual house where there is water and an ocean within the house. It's the most unusual architecture design ever, and it's like a dream house. You know how in a dream nothing really has to make sense? That's what this house is. And he only has interaction with one other person, and that other person very sparingly, and you know that there is a power dynamic going on there. This is written in journal entries, and I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The first time I read this, I buddy read it with Christina. I'm so excited to reread this one actually. This is going to be good. Oh, I'm so excited. Now, I could have used this for the second prompt for the 5th roll, which is a dark cover, but I've decided to go for a book that I picked up recently-ish, Only a Monster by Vanessa Len, and this one is a young adult fantasy that just seems like it's going to be a typical YA fantasy, which I need to remember to have in these lighter reads in my TBRs as well, because I do shift work, and on my early shifts I'm normally so tired that having something more complex to read I then can't follow. So having these lighter books in preparation for those days when I'm very tired is a smart idea. And in this one it is. In every story there is a monster and a hero. It should have been the perfect summer. Sent to stay with her eccentric family in London, Joan is determined to enjoy herself. She loves her job at the historic Holland House, and when her co-worker Nick asks her on a date, it feels like everything is finally fallen into place. Then Joan learns the truth. Her family aren't just eccentric, they're monsters, with terrifying hidden powers. And Nick isn't just a cute boy, he's a legendary monster slayer who will do anything to bring them down. To save herself and her family, Joan will have to do what she fears most, embrace her own monstrousness, because in this story, she is not the hero. I like the idea of we're following the monster of a story and just seeing how it's all gonna go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Now, there's a couple things that I should have mentioned at the start of this video. that I'm mentioning now, but that is, one, I have a Discord, and if you would like to take part in the Discord, it's always linked below. Part of the Discord is we have a monthly book club. I don't know what we're reading in January yet. I'm still waiting on all of the poll results for all of that, so I don't know. So we're going to have one book club pick added to it, which if it isn't something I own on my shelves, it will be a Kindle book. Which brings me to the second thing that I wanted to mention, is that some of you have asked to know what sort of Kindle books I plan on picking up for the month. As of yet, I'm not sure in January, but I do have a few on my Kindle that I would like to get to. I say not knowing where my Kindle is. Hang on. So I have a few books in my library that I've had my eye on for a little while, so I would like to get round to reading them, obviously. So the first one that I would like to get to is The Last Unicorn, and this is by Peter S. Beagle. This is a classic book, but it's one that I've been interested in getting, and I just want to know whether it's going to be worth buying a physical copy, if I'm really going to like the tale or not. It is a kind of fairy tale-esque where we're following this unicorn who is the last unicorn, and I think it has a lot of commentary with that one. Another book that I have had my eye on, that I've had in my Kindle for ages, which I did start but just never actually continued on with, is A Taste of Gold and Iron, and this is by Alexander Rowland. This is a Kindle book I picked up for 99p. It's actually a book that when it first came out in hardback, I had my eye on it. It sounded really good. This is a fantasy romance with, I think it's a bodyguard and his emperor romance. I only just started it, and by just started it I mean I think I read like 2% of the book, but I'm really intrigued by it. I think it's going to be a really nice heartwarming read. I like to have a Kindle book with me on the go, but I do also have Boy Parts as a Kindle book in here because it was on Kindle Unlimited. I might read Boy Parts as a Kindle book as well for the month, just in case you're interested. Those are a few that I've been eyeing up. My Kindle book, those are the ones I tend to mood read the most out of because it's just what I feel like picking up on my Kindle at the time. But right, let's go through all the books we're going to be reading in the month of January, with the addition of the book club pick for the Discord book club pick, which I don't know what that is yet, although you will have seen that in the January reset video that gets filmed throughout the month, and I will tell you in there what that is, so yeah. So for a dark cover, we have Only a Monster, and that is by Vanessa Len, and it's gonna be a classic YA fantasy, I believe. That's my expectation for it. Then we have a one-word title, which is a reread for the month, which is Piranesi. Very excited for this one, as I've already said. The contemporary for the month is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. I am dubious about this one. I think out of all the books, this is the one that's most likely not to get read, again, because that's just what I do. I keep putting things off. Then for manga, we're going to be continuing on with Dead Man's Wonderland, which is a really fun, albeit darker manga that me and my partner are reading together, so it'd be really nice to make some progress with him on this series, and it won't take up much time, so that's great. And then for pretty book, we're going with Every Exquisite Thing by Laura Stephen, Dorian Gray Reimagining, which just sounds absolutely fantastic. You can tell it's been a while since I've done this because this is already making my arms ache. But then we do have 2 prompts for you to choose between out of the books. So for the classic book, we have The Collector by John Knowles, or a gothic short story collection. So please let me know out of these 2 which one you think I should read for the month. We'll be adding one of those to this stat. And then of course the other one to choose between is the season pick, either going to be Anatomy, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz, which is more of a historical fiction-esque, or The Stolen Heir by Holly Black, which is a YA fantasy. So don't forget to cast your votes out of these, which ones you think I should be reading. And like I said, we will be adding in the book club pick for Discord to this stack of books. I am so excited. I am so pleased. I have a set TBR for the month of January. It's going to be so good. I'm going to put these down before I drop them. But yeah, I am so excited. So thank you so much for watching and for voting between the books. And let me know, have you read any of these? What are you planning to read in the month of January? We're at the end. I need a drink. I'm going to leave you in peace. If you have made it this far, then let's put a bird emoji because I'm wearing my bird skull necklace. And thank you so much for watching. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those 3 things really help this channel grow. My social media links, anyone I've mentioned, will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.